Today we're in Akron, Ohio at Green Lawn Memorial Park at the grave of Howard Woodford. It's Memorial Day here in the States, a day filled with family get-togethers, picnics and parades, but most importantly a day of remembrance for those who have given the ultimate sacrifice for their country. Howard Woodford is one of those gallant figures who paid that price, and I thought it only fitting that you hear his tale. Today's story is one of bravery and sacrifice, the ultimate sacrifice. So, if you're curious, let's take a walk through history. Howard Earl Woodford was born June 21st, 1921, here in Barberton, Ohio, to parents Dawson and Iva. A 1939 graduate of Barberton High School, Howard joined the U.S. Army and was assigned to the 3rd Battalion, 130th Infantry, 33rd Division. Howard ascended to the rank of Special Forces Intelligence Staff Sergeant. His responsibilities included collecting intelligence for special missions by employing conventional and unconventional warfare tactics and strategies, both in preparation for special missions and during operations, and provide tactical guidance to Army personnel. Howard served in the Pacific Theater in World War II and was part of the force instrumental in General Douglas MacArthur's retaking of the Philippines from the Japanese, who had captured the islands in 1942. The Allied forces, including Philippine fighters, attacked the Japanese on January 9, 1945, on the largest Philippine island of Luzon. Although the Allied forces would take control of all strategically and economically important locations of Luzon by March, pockets of Japanese resistance still held out in the mountains of the island until Japan's unconditional surrender in August. On June 6th, during a scheduled advancement on a forward Japanese position, there was a delay in the attack from one of the attached Philippine guerrilla battalions. This lead company was in combat for the very first time and was immobilized by Japanese mortar, machine gun, and rifle fire, which had caused casualties to key personnel. Staff Sergeant Woodford volunteered to investigate the delay. Once on scene, he immediately took command of the company, evacuated the wounded, and reorganized the Philippine fighting unit. Knowing that further failure to advance would endanger the flanks of the adjacent units, as well as delay capture of the objective, he led the Philippine assault against the Japanese. Staff Sergeant Woodford repeatedly exposed his position to draw revealing fire from the Japanese strongpoints, and then moved forward with a 5-man covering force to determine exact enemy positions. Although intense enemy machine gun fire killed 2 and wounded his other 3 men, Staff Sergeant Woodford continued his patrol before returning to the company. Then, against bitter resistance, he guided the company up a barren hill and captured the objective, personally accounting for 2 hostile machine gunners and courageously reconnoitering strong defensive positions before directing neutralizing fire. After organizing a defensive perimeter for the night, he was given permission by radio to return to his battalion, but feeling that he was needed to maintain proper control, he chose to remain with the guerrillas. Before dawn, the enemy launched a fierce suicide attack with mortars, grenades, and small arms fire, and infiltrated the perimeter. Though wounded by a grenade, Staff Sergeant Woodford remained at his post, calling for mortar support until bullets knocked out his radio. Then, seizing a rifle, he began working his way around the perimeter, encouraging the men until he reached a weak spot where 2 guerrillas had been killed. Filling this gap himself, he fought the enemy. At daybreak, Staff Sergeant Woodford was found dead in his foxhole, but 37 enemy dead were lying in and around his position. By his daring, skillful, and inspiring leadership, as well as his gallant determination to search out and kill the enemy, Staff Sergeant Woodford led an inexperienced unit in capturing and securing a vital objective and was responsible for the successful continuance of a vitally important general advance. Staff Sergeant Woodford's commendations include Asiatic Pacific Campaign Medal, Army Good Conduct Medal, Army Presidential Unit Citation, American Campaign Medal, Marksmanship Badge, Combat Infantry Badge, World War II Victory Medal, Purple Heart, and for his actions that fateful June day in the Philippines, Staff Sergeant Woodford was posthumously awarded the Medal of Honor.
Good morning. This is our 154th, observance in Barberton of Memorial Day. As in past years, we find our country involved in the military people all over the world.
Thank you.
We find our people, our military people, all over the world still in conflicts and so forth. We need to keep them in our hearts and our prayers. We remember the ones in our history who made the supreme sacrifice for the country, and those who have passed away this past year amongst us.
The second hero we want to recognize today is Staff Sergeant Howard Woodford. Because of his unselfish heroism, he was awarded our nation's highest honor, the Medal of Honor. Staff Sergeant Woodford was a member of the Barberton High School class in 1939. After graduation, he worked at the shipping department at the B&W. He was inducted into the Army September 30th, 1942. He served in the Central Pacific area, New Guinea, the Netherlands, East Indies, before going to Luzon in the Philippines. While serving in Luzon, he was assigned to take command of a guerrilla group fighting the Japanese. Against bitter resistance, he guided the guerrilla group up a barren hill and captured the objective, personally accounting for 2 machine gunners in the process. He was given permission by radio to return to his battalion, but he chose to remain with the guerrillas. Before dawn, on June 7, 1945, 1 year and 1 day after D-Day, the Japanese attacked as expected. At approximately 4:30 a.m., he was killed by a grenade that exploded in his foxhole. He died almost immediately from shrapnel wounds to his left side and his head. At daybreak, he was found in his foxhole with 37 dead Japanese laying around him. The Barberton VFW Post is so proud to present this monument to his family, the city of Barberton, and all our fellow citizens, so that Staff Sergeant Woodford's story will never be forgotten.
Howard is memorialized here, next to Lake Anna in his hometown, with hundreds more Barberton residents who served their country. A fitting memorial for all to see on this day America's Memorial Day. Thanks for watching today, folks. If you would please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. I love hearing from you. And I'll see you next time as we explore more curious history. Happy Memorial Day.